everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Brews and Buzzwords with Petrija, the digital content marketer at NVISION. And today I am joined by...
Chi, head of sales. How you guys doing?
Awesome. Well, Chi, it's so nice to have you.
Amazing to be here.
Yeah, awesome. Let's get right into it. You and I have been having this conversation on and off for a little while, and we thought, what better way to approach a Brews and Buzzwords episode than to bring it on to the show. So we were talking a little bit about alignment this week, and it's a topic that you're really, really passionate about. And it's something that we've been talking a lot about at NVISION. We've been working through it with our clients, working through it internally. Give me maybe like a quick cliff notes or a quick breakdown on what alignment is. Like, what are we looking for? How would you define alignment?
That's a great question. Alignment to me means a lot of things, but I think it heads from the vision of a company, vision of a brand, vision of, where you want to go. Because I believe in this life, in this world, it's really hard to do anything by yourself, right? You need really great people to support you. But to do that, I think that's where alignment comes in. Really understanding where you want to go, what that vision looks like, and then getting the people to support you to work together to go in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, who creates this vision in an ideal world? Like, let's say we're talking to a business owner, or we're just talking from the perspective of a business owner. Like, how do you set that vision? Like, how do you know that's the vision for the company or for like the direction of the team?
Mm-hmm. I think that question's multifaceted. But I think the vision should be set by the team, right? The values of the team, the standards of the team, because you want to make sure that people are in sync with the vision. If it's theoretically, if your leadership creates a vision, but no one's on board with it, that vision's not going to go anywhere, right?
So, in your opinion, in that case, does the vision need to be set before the team comes together? Because you were saying a little bit about how like the team should be involved in creating that vision or like the direction for that vision. But we have to start somewhere, right? Like that starting point has to exist so that people know what they're kind of like signing up for, or they have like reasonable expectations of what they can expect or like see in the future. But I'm really interested in this idea of like a team setting a vision. And I think that NVISION is a great example of that, where like the team comes in at multiple different parts in the process of setting that vision and gets a say or is like at the table or involved in decision-making processes. But in your opinion, like, do you think that even when there is a team coming together to set that vision or like make sure that there is alignment, does there need to be like one person steering the ship?
I think that's where great leadership comes in. I think it's great to have the voice of the team to create that one vision together. But I think it's the responsibility of leadership to really consolidate those ideas into one, right? Making sure that everyone's ideas are heard, they're respected. But at the end of the day, for leadership to really guide all these people and to really make sure that people are really, with the analogy of a ship, kind of steering or paddling towards the right direction with everyone's ideas in mind.
And what happens if they're not?
Yeah, that's the complexity of running a team, building a team, complexities of leadership. A lot of things could kind of fall apart if that happens, right? But I think that's where the fun of building a company or leading a team really comes in, right? Because we're all humans. The complexity of humans is not as binary as some other things in life, right?
So would you say that the alignment then is that we are making sure that everybody is in agreement, or that everybody understands what is expected of them?
I think it could be both. I think it's responsibility of leadership to really understand the people that they work with so they feel heard, they feel respected, so they can do their best work to really ultimately drive the vision forward.
That sounds challenging. Have you ever experienced a situation in which the alignment, negatively impacted a business or a team? Can you maybe walk us through what that was like?
Yeah, of course. I remember myself building teams before, and it's bound to happen. These things, a lot of people have there are certain beliefs, certain ideas on the direction of the company. And I think most of the time they mean well, right? They want to support the company. They want to do better work for themselves. But sometimes that does fall out of the alignment of the bigger picture. I think everything just starts from a conversation.
What kinds of conversations?
Sometimes we have to have tough conversations, but sometimes just having a realignment conversation in terms of, the bigger picture and how we can best support them through times of change as well, right?
Yeah, change is huge. Change is inevitable, but it is scary and it's unpredictable. And I think it takes a certain level of bravery to accept change. And change management is, I think, one of the biggest challenges of running a business or even just embarking on a new venture or an endeavor. I wanted to touch a little bit on the idea of change, right, in a company. And I think that change is interesting because a lot of individuals see change as a threat, right? They can see it as a threat to the status quo or a threat to your comfort or stability. And I think this comes from a place of people thinking that change means that there is a precarity in financials or employment. But change is inevitable, and change, you can't grow without change. So being open to the idea of change means that you have to be open to the idea of growth. And I think what I'm trying to get at with this is, how does this factor into alignment? How does it affect alignment?
I think you hit the nail on its head there. And change is a direct representation of growth. Going back to leading a team, it's great. It's necessary to have the right people on your team. People that want to grow, that want to change, that want to do better. And I think the complexities there are when you have people on your team that don't want to grow and they want to stay at status quo. And that's 100% contradictory to any business that needs to drive more revenue, that needs to grow, that needs to keep on pushing the boundaries for that vision to keep on evolving. Because we live in a society where we need to adapt. Because if you don't, then you start falling behind.
Yeah, right? Totally. So what does internal misalignment look like? How do you know when a team is misaligned?
I'll talk about misalignment in the context that I know, which is in the realm of sales. Sales is important, not in the way that people think. People think sales is important because it's the lifeblood of the company. You need revenue. But I believe that sales is just one aspect of the whole picture. Sales sets expectations throughout the whole customer journey, the whole experience, whether that be internal, external. And sales does not do its job properly and setting expectations, then it makes it really difficult for the rest of the team to really do their job. Because at the end of the day, everything is so interwoven and interconnected. I think communication and comprehension between teams, between even relationships, if we talk about this outside the scope of business, all it really is human interactions and getting alignment from the people that are important to make sure that you guys go on this journey together, whether that be in life, be in business, and then you guys can really succeed. right? So without that alignment, I think things can fall apart. Right?
And that's a tough conversation to have. You know, like you were talking a little bit about communication and why that's important. And it's been my experience that the kind of cornerstone of a successful business relationship is that the communication is open on both ends. Mm-hmm. You're open to giving it, but you're also open to receiving it, right? And it takes open communication to achieve alignment, because, you know, if it is a team effort and the team is setting the vision or like the direction of a business or the development of a product or a service, having everybody at the table means that everybody has to contribute to the conversation. Mm-hmm. And I know there's tremendous value in listening, but there's also tremendous value in absorbing that information and creating something with what you've learned or what you've received and kind of putting that back out into the world, right? Without that, we probably can't achieve alignment, right? Like it'll always be that somebody is not represented in the vision or somebody is not really like in tune with what's going on. I think that when you brought up the conversation of sales, like there's an interesting thing where I think a lot of people assume that sales is very tactical and they don't really think about sales from a more like strategic perspective, and that sales is a reflection of or like a continuation of a larger strategy, mm-hmm. like a larger business strategy. How does internal alignment support sales?
A team is very similar to like a professional sports team, right? Sales is just one function, one role of the bigger vision of that goal, right?
The quarterback.
I wouldn't even say the quarterback.
Really?
Actually, yeah. Because the quarterback, I would say it's actually the CEO. Mm. Yeah. Sales is probably the first line. I would say sales is a very offensive function of a business because you do need that revenue for the business, but it's not possible without the support of every other function, whether that be marketing or client success or just anything along the lines of what is actually possible to sell. Because if you sell something that we can't deliver, guess what? The client's not going to be happy, right? You have a bad reputation, you get bad reviews, and that does nothing for the business. Mm-hmm. Sales is ultimately just the voice of what the company can and wants to deliver, mm-hmm. right?
So if there's like an internal misalignment, how would a business see that in their sales? Like,
if you don't have an alignment in terms of who you serve, the product that you provide, the offer that you provide, guess what? Probably going to get really bad leads, right? You're going to waste money on leads if you're doing paid ads, right? The leads that come in don't really kind of go anywhere. It's hard to get kind of case studies in terms of people that you can help, because ultimately you're not really defined in terms of the results that you're bringing.
Yeah. And I think if we look even more internally, like sales is kind of like the outward part of the team, mm-hmm. the team that's kind of like client facing, public facing, has most of the conversations with the public. If we look in the opposite direction, like the execution teams or people who are kind of involved in day-to-day operations or like, projects, misalignment is so much more immediate. Like you feel it so much faster. What does that look like?
Sales is not aligned with marketing. The first thing that comes to my mind is just poor delivery. And when there's poor delivery, oftentimes many companies start pointing fingers, mm-hmm. right? But I always go to the idea of, hey, if there's misalignment, where did that misalignment start? And that's typically from sales.
Okay.
All right. To ensure that the whole company is a well-oiled machine, we really do need that alignment from top to bottom. We need that communication from top to bottom, and not being able to not see each individual department as like a siloed part function of the company, but as one holistic whole, right? That has one mission, and that mission is for that company to thrive.
Yeah, that growth we were talking about, right? One thing I do want to ask is like, who should be initiating these conversations? Because I think that's something we haven't touched on yet, is like, you can feel it and you can see and you can experience what it feels like, whether you're a client or whether you're, on the team, what that when misalignment happens. But I think, we're going back to that idea that the vision is a team effort. Not everyone will feel the misalignment at the same time, right? Like there's certain people who will feel it sooner, certain people who might identify it faster than others, just based on kind of where they're at in that machine you were referring to. But I feel like there's also the added challenge or like the complexity of how team expectations or like org structures position individuals so that certain people are, I guess, meant to bring issues forward or like be change champions and others less so. Do you think that there are certain people who should be a little bit more maybe like attuned to the sounds of misalignment, or like certain people who should be actively looking out for signs of misalignment?
As a individual contributor, I do believe that companies should make it very safe for anyone to really voice anything that they see being not aligned, right? To have really genuine and open conversations with their managers or leadership, so we can tackle those kind of issues kind of head on. But also on the flip side, I also believe that it is leadership's responsibility to kind of look around the corner, to look at their team and look out for their team, to really try to uncover any of these issues. So it's everybody's responsibilities, right? And then even a little higher C-level executives, CEOs, it's their responsibilities to understand and take care of their leaders so they feel they have the voice, they have the responsibility, they have the ability to make these changes and feel heard, and make sure that everyone's really taking care of this overall ship, function, organism, company, whatever it is. Yeah.
That's a really nice full circle moment, right? Like we established that the vision is a team effort, and so is maintaining that vision and maintaining that alignment. I think it's really nice that you touched on how everybody really plays a role in maintaining alignment and making sure that alignment is reflective of everyone on the ship, right? Or like in the company. If you had one takeaway for, somebody watching about alignment, what would it be?
I think we must have regular conversations in terms of alignment and getting everyone really in the same direction. I think what happens a lot is the conversation is not a priority. It's not as important. And they get swept under the rug. And then what happens in a few months, a year, 2 years, we're so far off the path.
Yeah.
Because it should be something that we make a priority.
You heard it here first, folks. Alignment is priority number 1 from Chi. Thank you so much for joining us today. Tune in to our next Brews and Buzzwords episode. You'll find it here on YouTube once a month, once every few weeks or so. Yeah, something like that. All right, take care.
Thanks for watching this video. If you got something out of it, please like, subscribe, or share it with your friends.